I walked into the house as I always did, my bag on my shoulder and a familiar weariness in my legs. It had been a long day, and the subway had been delayed again. With a habitual movement, I turned the key, pushed the door open, and immediately sensed that something was wrong. I was hit by a thick smell of fried meat, sweet perfume, and cheap air freshener. I froze in the entryway, not recognizing my own home. It felt as if I had walked into a stranger's apartment, one where someone had been living for a long time, loudly, shamelessly, and without permission. From the living room came a cacophony of sounds from children's YouTube videos and infectious laughter. I stepped forward, and my heart skipped a beat. On my light gray couch, bought on credit just a couple of months ago, sat a little girl in a pink cat t-shirt, her bare feet dirty, holding a half-eaten banana. The other half was smeared on the armrest. Her fingers were covered in chocolate, and she was wiping them on a pillow. "Mia, turn that down!" a woman's voice barked from the kitchen. "The lady of the house is here." I stood frozen. The kitchen door was wide open. By the table stood a woman in her mid-30s, wearing a fuchsia tracksuit with a short haircut and a wide, falsely friendly face. "Excuse me, who are you?" I asked, trying to keep my voice from trembling. "I'm Jessica," she said, glancing at me with a smirk, as if we'd known each other for 10 years and she was the one in charge. "Mia and I are going to stay with you for a while. Aunt Carol said it was okay." I still hadn't taken off my coat. "What do you mean, stay?" I asked, slowly, trying not to lose my temper. Just then, my mother-in-law, Carol, walked into the kitchen. "Honey, don't be upset," she said, gently pouring herself a glass of water. "Jessica's in a serious situation. Her apartment flooded. Why are you looking at me like that? I told you this morning." "Jessica and Mia are coming. They're in trouble. Let them stay with us until the repairs are done." "Us?" I repeated. "When did we discuss this?" My mother-in-law took a sip of water and threw her hands up dramatically. "But I knew you wouldn't mind. You're such a kind person. And where is the child supposed to go? Not on the street, surely," she said in a tone that tolerated no objections. At that moment, David, my husband, walked in. He saw the look on my face and asked irritably, "What's wrong now? Mom's family is in trouble? We're good people, right? What's the problem?" He kissed me on the cheek automatically, put a bag of groceries on the table, and went upstairs without even looking me in the eye. Just then, Jessica blew a huge bubble with her gum and popped it loudly. "It's cozy here. We were going to sleep on the couch, but Aunt Carol said you wouldn't mind, so we made ourselves at home in the room upstairs." I remained silent. That night, I couldn't sleep. I heard someone padding barefoot on the tiled floor. Jessica was walking around my kitchen. I could hear her clattering things, opening the refrigerator and drinking milk straight from the carton. I lay in the darkness staring at the ceiling and remembered a smell. The smell of lavender and white currant jam. My grandmother's smell. Years ago, when I was just dating David, I visited my grandmother in the hospital. She was lying by the window, looking out as if she saw something beyond the glass, beyond the city, beyond me. "Sarah," she called softly, "come sit with me." I sat down and took her dry, light hand. "You will have your own home," she said. "No matter what kind of man you have, you will always have a roof over your head. I've signed my house over to you. The deed is in the drawer with my ribbons. Don't say a word to anyone." A week later, she was gone. I found the deed, which stated that I, Sarah Peterson, was the sole owner. I hid the documents away, never thinking I would need them so soon. Now, remembering that deed, I finally fell into a peaceful sleep. The next evening, I came home to find a strange man in my hallway, stocky in a black track jacket with stubble. "You're home already?" Jessica called out lazily from the kitchen. "This is my friend Rick. He's just bringing in a few things." I stepped aside as Rick walked past me without a greeting, smelling of stale beer.
He glanced into the living room and whistled. "Hey, nice couch. Must be soft." He patted a cushion, and an open chocolate wrapper fell out from behind it. The girl, Mia, quickly stuffed it back under the cushion. "Don't freak out," Jessica said. "Rick will just crash here for a couple of nights." I fell silent. Rick, meanwhile, spat a gum wrapper into my decorative vase by the door. I couldn't take it anymore. "Jessica, Rick can sleep at his own place or yours." "My place has mold, you heard her?" Jessica's voice rose. "This is my house," I said coldly. She narrowed her eyes. "Well, not just yours, technically. I figure you and David set it up together, so you should decide together." I understood then. They felt entitled. They weren't guests, they were invaders. And I was the one who was out of place. Before bed, I went to brush my teeth and found a strange man's toothbrush, dirty sneakers, and an extinguished cigarette in the sink. Next to the mirror was a crumpled condom wrap. I returned home early from work the next afternoon, determined to sort this mess out. As I approached the kitchen, I heard voices. It wasn't just a conversation, it was a strategy session. "The mold is serious," my mother-in-law Carol was saying in a falsely sympathetic tone. "It'll take months to fix." "And I have no money for that," Jessica whined. "What we need to do," Carol continued, lowering her voice, "is to get you and Mia officially registered at this address, at least the child. That way, if Sarah ever gets any funny ideas, you have rights. A child can't just be evicted." "And then," Jessica added with a smug smirk, "maybe we can get a piece of the house transferred. A quarter, maybe. I just need stability." "David, you need to talk to your Sarah," Carol urged. "My boy wouldn't," a gruff voice, Rick's, chimed in. "My woman would have signed whatever I told her to long ago." I had heard enough. I pushed the door open. The voices stopped. They all turned to look at me. My voice was calm and firm. "Since everyone has had their say, I believe it's my turn." I took a step forward. "Get out, all of you." "What?" Rick was the first to recover, with a crooked smile on his face. "My house," I said, my voice barely a whisper but sharp as a knife, "from the last floorboard to the last nail. I am the owner here. Now you will leave." I turned to Rick. "You first, before I call the police for trespassing." He went without an argument. "Be gone by tomorrow," I said, looking at David. "You too." A week after the house was empty, I noticed my grandmother's antique gold-faced clock was missing and filed a police report. A few days later, David showed up and handed me a small box without looking me in the eye. "Rick stole it. He got scared and gave it to Jessica. She has a kid. Please, drop the charges." I silently closed the door in his face. David never called again, but one day I received a text. "I'm sorry, Sarah. I'm a coward." From that day on, no one ever crossed the threshold of my home without my permission.